Fucking boo.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to Fucking Boo, Bombing Stories with Jay Hollingsworth. I am your host, Jay Hollingsworth, and today we have one of my best buddies in comedy, the creator of The Dope Show, Twitter, Instagram handle, Hi BS, my good buddy Tyler Smith. What's up, Tyler?
Hey, great to be here, Jay. Thanks for having me. Really glad I have a story to contribute.
Yes. Yeah, and what's great about this is this story, what was it, 2 nights ago this occurred?
Yeah, what is it, Friday? This happened Tuesday.
Okay, and
oh boy.
It's crazy you never bombed in your career prior to Tuesday.
I know, dude. You asked me to be on the show, and I honestly was like, I can't think of a single. You know what? I'm gonna go bomb on purpose, so I know what it feels like.
Never bomb Tyler, they call him.
I'm just. They call me a dud because I never blow. All right.
Well, now's your second bombing, right on the show. What, I got Phil Fox on here?
Oh boy.
All right, so tell me about this show Tuesday.
So this is it's a corporate gig.
Yuck already.
We already know what's going on. So this is I was invited to perform for some marijuana business owners that are grouping together to hire some lobbyists to like help out the laws in Washington State. And my sponsor in Spokane Comedy Club, I don't even know if I want to mention anybody. I don't even know if I want to mention my fucking career or anything because this is so fucking recent. You don't have to tag me in any of this shit. So last year they paid for a year's worth of sponsorships, and then COVID happened and canceled out all of them, right? But they had already paid for them. So, they paid for 12 and they only got 2. So there's 10 shows that they had paid for that didn't happen. So he was like, hey man, why don't you come out, bring another comedian, and I'll forgive that debt and I'll pick up sponsorship for this next year. And I was like, fucking great. So this is like one of the single highest paying gigs like I've ever had. Right. That wasn't, produced, that I didn't produce myself. So I'm like, this is amazing. So I book Ngaio Belam. Know him?
Great. Yeah.
Great comic. He, he's a big in the marijuana community. So I'm like, he's going to do great. So I'm hanging out before the show, and everybody there is like super rich. Like you can just tell they're rich, and they're prominent. And most of these people are like first career lawyers, second career marijuana. Right. And so I'm sitting there and I'm talking to like the guy who brought me, or the guy who booked me. And I was like, so what's this all about? And he goes, oh, we're lobbying, we're trying to get more business licenses to sell marijuana in the hands of minorities. Because, there's a disproportionate amount of arrests towards minorities in our state for marijuana. So we're trying to help them out by getting people released and getting business licenses out and distributed to people who should get them. And it's hard to get them because they're very expensive. So it's kind of like a big, nice thing that they're doing.
Right.
And they're also trying to jack up THC in products. So they're like,
also great.
All great things. It's like, wow, this is like, I feel like this is like a pinnacle of my career. Like, I'm like, oh my God, I'm like here with like people trying to make moves and shit. This is cool. Yeah. And it's like a very nice hotel. We're in like a very beautiful
hotel. Put you up.
They put me up in the Marcus Whitman in Walla Walla. It's a very expensive hotel.
All right. And for those that don't know, Tyler, I mean, you're storyteller style, but you're also like, you're kind of known as like the weed comic of the
for sure.
Washington. Yeah,
for sure. So definitely known as that. I'm like, this is gonna be an ace. I am gonna ace
your
this.
People.
It's my people, bro. I have no problem with what's gonna happen here tonight. I got a little bit of butterflies because it's like a brightly lit brightly lit. Sorry, I'm like having flashbacks.
Yeah.
It was a brightly lit ballroom, very high ceilings, tiny little stage in the corner, and just banquet tables all around the room. They right before, they're like, we're gonna have dinner. Everybody's gonna get dinner, and then they're gonna sit down. And then after everybody sat down for a few minutes, we're gonna like you just walk up there onto the stage, just walk up there and just start. And I was like, okay, you don't want to bring me on or anything? Like, no, just go up there and just go begin. And I was like, okay,
go begin,
just go do your thing. And I'm like, okay.
Now, real quick, so for this show, you're kind of the host. You're the host and feature, so to speak, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
I'm supposed to do 20 minutes.
Gotcha. To open them up.
To get
them to like you, start laughing.
Let's get loose and let's have some fun. So right before I go on stage, they're like fucking like the person who's running the show like runs up to the mic and she's like, oh, I just want to make an announcement. Senator Cantwell has just joined us for dinner, and fucking Senator Washington State Senator just walks into the room and like waves, everybody cheers, and they're like, oh, all right, this is great. And I'm like, oh, this is cool. I never performed in front of a senator, so let's see how this goes. And then
was hired by a few. What? Hello.
So was that like a sex joke?
Yeah. Sexually hired. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Bathhouse.
Wait, what senator are you talking about?
The one that hired you. I don't know.
It's double bombing. We're double bombing.
Fucking boo.
Yeah, boo. So fucking
how many people are at this, by the way?
Like 200.
Okay.
200 people. It's completely full. I like, all right, I go on. I'm like, so they like, I look over the person that's like kind of running the mic, and she like, does a little like, all right, go up there, go do your thing. And I walk on over to the stage, and the stage.
Why are you looking to the right? Look forward, you dummy. Quit looking at yourself. You're looking at yourself, you fucking arrogant cunt.
No, I have double monitors, so
okay. Well,
I'm looking at you. I promise, I'm looking.
This is like you. This is you through this whole thing. Yeah, cool. I'm talking to the fucking wall.
Yeah, if we both do this, then it looks like we're talking to each other.
Hey, what's up? What's up, Tyler? Yeah, really. That's fucking Jesus.
So
she gives you the point, like you're ready.
She gives me the point. You're ready to go. And I walk onto stage, and the mic is on one of those boom mics, and it's like wrapped around it tightly. So I'm like, I take the mic off and I start unwrapping it, and then I straighten out the stand so it looks like a regular comedian stand, And I'm just kind of like mopping things around, and I'm like looking towards the crowd to kind of like, this is kind of like I'm being jovial about setting up the stage, but I'm just seeing if anybody's gonna start paying attention. And then I go, hey everyone, I'm the comedian portion of the event is about to start. I'm the host of that. I'm Tyler Smith. I'm not just some asshole that just grabbed the mic right now. And as soon as I said I'm not just some asshole, like the front 4 tables just gasp. I'm like, oh no.
Are you supposed to be clean in this?
No, they said do whatever you want. Like these are like we're marijuana users. Like the guy
they heard asshole and oh,
I heard like a gasp, and I was like, oh fuck. So I'm just like, oh god. So I go, it's nice. Like this is a room full. It's great to be here to entertain all you rich ass drug dealers. And silence. Just nobody is giving it up, and they're literally drug dealers. Everybody there owns a marijuana dispensary, so it's like they're fucking a bunch of Pablo Escobars. And I'm like just not getting anything, and then
quit looking at the monitor, you fuck.
It's hard for me to even tell this story looking straight ahead because I'm so ashamed of myself. Here, can I just grab the fucking? Yeah, so this is just so natural.
How it should have been.
So I'm fucking This looks so
Oh,
gross.
Jesus
You can see
Christ.
my
Put it
double
down
chin.
somewhere. Fuck.
There we go. So I fucking what I say after that, I'm like, you guys are here, from what I understand, to get more business licenses into the hands of minorities. That's really cool of you guys, all you white people trying to bring blacks and browns into the folds. And it's just like super.
Oh my God.
And I'm like, why am I riffing about this right now? Like, why am I even mentioning? I'm like, that was just the elevator pitch I heard. I mean, it makes sense, right? Because more of them are being arrested for it. It's like, you
More
obviously
of
like
them.
selling it, right? Am I right, guys? So why don't we get you a business license?
You're probably 2 minutes in right now.
It feels like I'm
an hour
into it, but I'm probably 20 seconds.
And do you already right now know, oh, this is not going to be good?
Yeah, I know. I'm like, oh no, I lost him, and now I'm like
lost him. You never had him.
I never had him. Never had him. And it's, you know, like this is like the first, not the first. This is probably like it's like my 20th show, I guess. So I really have no excuse. I've been doing like 20 shows.
Is this your sponsor? Is this his first time seeing you?
It's his first time seeing me since COVID.
Oh yeah. No.
So he's like, ooh, he's just looking at his table. Like, I don't think he's even having fun. And
oh, fuck.
I go into a bit and I'm just like, okay, let's just do a bit and quit fucking around. So I start thinking of my bits and I'm like, okay, fucking marijuana. You guys like to sell it. Same here. And then I like fumble the intro to my own bit and I just like clumsily throw it out there. And I'm just like, I got arrested for selling weed once. And everybody is like just looking around and like, there's like moderate chuckles. I feel like anybody who's laughing is being so polite or just like, oh my God, do you see what's going on? Like, so I say I get arrested. I got arrested for selling pot. And I'm going into my arrested for selling pot story. And then I'm like, I feel like if you guys sell pot, you should be arrested for it at least once. If anybody, has anybody ever here been arrested for selling weed? Nobody. Oh,
is this thing on?
And just like nobody. You guys all have clean criminal backgrounds. That's amazing. Good for you guys. And then I do like another bit about like some medical weed, like way back in the day. I'm pulling jokes out and I'm like, why didn't I just do my normal set that I've been doing this last year and not fucking do any? I'm like, I'll just do like weed jokes that haven't been used in fucking years.
And then now you're like, fuck, how do I even tell that joke?
Yeah, so I'm like, I'm like medical marijuana, that's the only license that I got. Fuck. And I just spit out like a shitty joke and it's just, it gets a moderate laugh, like just kind of like a like it doesn't break any, it doesn't go into like the yellows of the sound decibels, you know, it's just moderate signals. And I'm so now I'm just like, I say, well, you guys are going to be delighted to find out that I'm not the only performer tonight. And then that gets a big laugh. That gets like everybody laughs. And I could see the senator just go, I'm like,
oh no.
And then I'm just gonna go ahead, and I see the headliner just like shaking his head and start walking over because he knows that he's bailing on his shit. And I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna bail on this. In my head, I'm like, I don't fucking care. I'm bailing on this. I already got paid. I'm paying that guy to do most of the time anyways. So that's the other thing, by the way. I didn't get paid to do this show. Like no money exchanged hands. This was only like a forgiveness debt and then a future sponsorship. So I got zero money. I just got forgiveness. And but all the money that we did get paid, I just gave to Ngaio. Which I'm like, I'm fucking stupid. I should have held on to a little bit of that. But I'm too honest. I just gave it all to him. So
And
when Gaio
also,
gets
I
on-
mean, would you have really earned it?
I know, dude. I would have given it all to him,
Yeah,
even
exactly,
if I didn't
exactly.
give it all to him. So
Oh,
I just in case any comics listening, I was an honest booker and I gave him all the money. So then I get up, I bring in Gaio on, you know, I do like the host portion, I flawless, everybody's fine. I bring in Gaio on and I go and I sit down and I have like a plate of dinner at my table.
I hope everybody fucking
And
ostracized you.
everybody at my table who loved me before I went on stage. They were all my friends.
Oh,
Like
no.
we all had like our moments and we were joking like, oh, you're the comedian. This is going to be
Can't
great.
wait to see you.
We're sitting at the fun table. We're at the fun
no.
table. And I come back and I just go,
I'm surprised you didn't just leave.
So
Oh.
my table just goes, you know, like, okay. And then the guy who is the nicest to me at my table doesn't even acknowledge me. He just like quietly nods and then pays attention to the headliner. And then I have like a prime rib, like with it's like such a nice banquet. So I have this really lovely dinner. I just shovel the whole thing into my mouth and just chew it real quickly. I eat it and I could feel myself starting to sweat. Like I wasn't embarrassed on stage, but once I got off and I saw the interactions of people, I'm like, oh, that was way worse than I thought it was. So I already thought it was bad, but when I got off stage, I'm like, oh, that was fucking awful. That was awful. Oh no. So now I'm just like looking around and like people are starting to laugh at Ngaio. And I'm like, I'm like starting to sweat. I'm like, I can feel myself turn red. I'm like, I'm just gonna go outside for a second. So I get upside, I get up, I go out, I leave the banquet and I go down to the bathroom and I just like, what are you doing, man? Like just fucking
Man.
By the way, when Ngaio's done, I had to go back on stage. Like there's another portion, not just of my stand-up, but there's like a whole nother, like I have to do a raffle.
Oh,
so they want me to hang out and keep hanging out on stage. So I leave, I go to the bathroom. I'm like talking to myself. I'm just like, it's okay, man. It was a shitty room. They're tight. It's a tight room. Anybody could fail in there. Don't worry about it. And
don't listen to Ngaio.
And I go back out there and then I can, before I'm even like back to the room, I'm like on the other side of the hotel. I can hear the room like erupting with laughter. Like it is just like the whole fucking building is like shaking with laughter. And I'm like, fuck. That is like the greatest room is going. It's like the greatest comedy is happening in that fucking room. It is so fire hot. And I'm just outside and Ngaio is just fucking crushing. He is crushing. And then I'm like, I'm not going back in there. I'm just not going to go back in there. So I sat out the room. I sat outside the banquet hall and every now and then somebody would come out because they were like running to the bathroom and they'd be all like, and then look at me and they go, and just keep going. No. Like every person was just like, ugh, this guy. Like I was just sitting there in my own vomit. It looks like that's the look that they gave me. So Ngaio, he's crushing. I go back in the room because he's got like 10 minutes left, and I like go give him the light, and he's kind of at this point now where he's like, I don't know what else to do. So he's like fucking around on stage almost like, you know, like what bit should I do? I'll fucking do this bit. And, you know, like he had all of his tight material and then now he's just kind of going loose and his loose shit is still crushing. It's still crushing. I can tell.
Like, I tried loose shit. It didn't work.
I know. I can totally tell. Like, I know, like I performed with him a bunch of times too. So I know what is material and what isn't. And so he's just killing it. And then he finally ends and he is like, thank you guys. I'm going to get back to Tyler. And he like puts the mic down and just standing ovation, like crowds clapping. They all get up. Everybody's getting up and it's like really old white people. So it's like, it's hard for them to get up. Like we have to wait for everybody to like creak out of their chair and then start fucking clapping. And they clap for so fucking long. Like I'm like walking, I'm slowly going on stage. Like I'm walking in slow motion because I'm like, all right, he's going. Like I shake his hand.
This will die down by the
This
time
will die down.
Mic stand.
This will die down by the time I get up there. Nope. And guy like waves, shakes my hand, goes down. And they're like turning to him, like as he's walking off the stage.
Yeah, they want to make
like,
sure you know this isn't for you.
This is not for me. Ovation is just slowly facing, like following him like sprinkler heads as he's walking out. And I'm on stage, like I'm center stage. Fucking look at me. And they're just like clapping him as he walks out of the fucking room.
Fuck.
And I'm just like, oh God. So I'm like, hey, well, I brought that guy, so some of this is for me. Just so you guys know.
They immediately just stop right then.
Immediately.
Oh fuck.
So then I do the raffle. The raffle goes fine. I'm gonna say like the room's like a lot more lively now.
Oh, that's great. You can read numbers. Good job, Tyler.
I'm reading the shit out of these numbers, and I'm doing like good fucking. I don't know. I'm not letting it affect my mood on stage. And then the raffle's done. Wrap up. I go out there and people are shaking in Gaio's hand like crazy. The guy who hired me, I witness him like count out quite a bit of money and go over to Ngaio, hand it to him, and like personally thank him. Like just made sure he got paid way extra. Like I'm guessing he got paid almost double what he made.
And then did he say, "Hey, I'd like to talk to you about this sponsorship guy"?
No, he looks at me and then nods and then goes in the other direction. And I'm just like, fuck. So Ngaio, he comes out with me, and he and I like we smoke a joint outside, and everybody's coming out now, and they're all like handing him weed. Like everybody's handing him weed, not me. And I'm just like, don't worry, it's okay. I brought my fucking own. So I'm sitting there and I'm smoking, and this one person comes up, one of the lobbyists, and she was being really nice, and she starts talking to me, and I'm like, thank you so much for talking to me. And I'm just like, I'm so happy that somebody's being nice to me. So I'm just like, oh my God.
She's like, yeah, I just wanted to know, what's that guy's Instagram?
No, she's just being nice. Like generally just being a nice person. And her friends though were just slowly stepping away from us. And I'm just like, I'm like in my head, I know your friends are like, why the fuck are you talking to that one?
You were a fart. You were basically like a fart. Everybody's like, get the fuck away from this.
Exactly. Like, don't hang out with him. His anxiety is contagious. So I'm like, well, thanks for being nice to me. And then like, as soon as we get to that point of the conversation, this chick comes up and she just puts her arm around me. And she goes, well, they didn't really like you in there, did they? And then just kind of pats me and then walks away. And I'm just like, nope, not really. And I'm just like, okay, so I'm going to leave. I go to Ngaio. I'm like, hey, man. And he's like crushing it in conversation with people. Like he's just still got it.
He's got a whole new hour from the
doing it well. And I'm starting to sweat and I'm making jokes about it. I'm like, oh, fuck, this Walla Walla heat. Let me tell you. Everybody else bone dry. I'm the only one sweating. I go back into the hotel. People are just like, it's like the shark that goes through the pods of fish, how just people are separating as I walk through. And I go through all of the people and I'm getting like, you'll get them next time, buddy, don't worry. And I'm like, and then I go to my room. I have my hotel key and it doesn't work. So I'm locked out of my fucking room and I'm like, God,
gotta go back down.
So I gotta go back down through the crowd again. And I'm like, this time I'm so dead inside. I'm like, I've been beaten dead. And I'm like walking through and this like as I get through the crowd and I'm almost to the other side where the hotel lobby is to go get my new key. And this guy stops me and he's like, hey, so you're a producer, right? And I'm like,
oh no.
Well, I mean, I'm a comedian, but I also produce. And he's like, oh, you actually are a comedian? He's like, so you haven't been doing it very long. And I'm like,
oh my God.
Yeah, I've been doing it for so long that shouldn't have happened like that. Is how long I've been doing it. And he's just like, oh, well, I mean, it's not like you make a living off of this. Like, are you like a professional? Like, are you professional? And I was like, yeah. Yep.
It's at this point when he keeps going, you're like, did somebody fucking put you up to this? Is it like
Oh, he goes like, well, humor is a funny thing. And I go, okay, yeah, hold on 1 second. And I just like clap and I just walk right past him. Just like, I am done with this conversation. I just don't want to hear it. I don't give a fuck who this guy is. I just like, okay, hold on 1 second. I just like walk right by him. And then I go to the lobby. I'm sweating now, just reliving it. I'm sweating, just reliving this.
Oh God.
So I go to the lobby, I get my key, and then I go back through the crowd and I see like my Ngaio's there and my sponsor are talking. So I'm like, just I have to talk to him. Like I have to talk to him because he booked me and I'm gonna see him in a month. So like don't just fucking I can't Irish goodbye out of this situation. So I'm like, I walked over to him and I'm like, we make like small chat. He tells me about like some future plans and another show, and he's like, why don't you book it? And here's my budget. And I was like, I'll book it and I'll make sure everybody on there is phenomenal. And like, don't worry.
Oh no.
And then he's like, okay. And so I'm like, okay. And then he leaves, and then I'm like, that's the perfect note to end this on. Like, we have a future deal. So I turn around, I go up back to my hotel room, and I grab my shit and I go out of my hotel room and I take the fire exit out. And I go out the fire exit because it's not through the lobby again. And then I walk all the way around the parking lot, around all the cars, because everybody is like in the lobby and outside the building smoking. Right. So I go all the way around the lobby into my car and I drive all the way home.
Yeah.
I don't even take.
As you were saying this, I remember you were like, because I hit you up. I was like, hey, are you getting on PlayStation tonight? And you're like, I'm driving back from Walla Walla. This was like 11 at night.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I left at 8. Well, yeah, maybe like 9. So I was going to get home around like 1:30. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Dude.
So I'm like, fuck it. So,
oh my God. Did you tell Ngaio that you were taking off?
Ngaio messaged me because I didn't say goodbye to him. And he's like, hey, where you at? And I was like, I'm in my room, gonna call it a night.
He doesn't even know. I'm gonna tag him in this, and hopefully he watches this.
Like, oh my God. Fuck. So I'm like, no, you have a great night, Ngaio. You did great. You killed it. Thank you for killing it. And Ngaio too, he came out and we talked for a second. He's like, because he saw that I saw it, he got tipped, and he's like, did you get paid for this? And I was like, well, technically I got forgiven for a debt and I just gave you all the money. So don't worry about it. And he's like, do you want some gas money? And I'm just like, no, I just want to
forget this.
I just want to forget it. You keep everything. This is like, you earned every dollar tonight. I didn't fucking earn shit. So, yeah. And that was, so then on my way back, I'm like, just having like an existential crisis. Like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? Did I lose everything? Did I lose all my talent during this like year of quarantine, this like year and a half of being isolated? Am I like totally an introvert? And I'm not listening to music. I'm not listening to podcasts. I'm just 4.5 hours just belittling myself, shitting on myself. So then I find a fucking fast food joint in Ellensburg, and I get like the largest milkshake that you possibly get, just like a fucking 32-ounce milkshake and a 32-ounce water, and then I just keep driving home, and I don't sleep. I wake up, I go to my day job, I do like my day job thing, and then I have another corporate gig, just another one right after this. Like, this is Tuesday was cannabis, and then Wednesday I'm doing another corporate gig for an even larger banquet hall in Seattle for all of the Washington State firemen. So,
did that one go better?
That one, so I was hired to headline.
Is this another bombing story?
No, it's not.
Okay, all right. It went better.
It went, yeah. So what happened was I had such nerves from the day before. Like I felt like I was like traumatized almost. Like I was molested by my
PTSD.
date on Tuesday, and then I have another date with somebody else on Wednesday. It's just like, what the fuck am I doing? So I tell the opener and like the two dudes I hired, like they're not really openers. It's like JR and Mike.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, we're gonna split this time. We're like all gonna do 20 minutes, and I'm gonna go in the middle. Like, so you go first, you go last. I don't want any pressure tonight.
Yeah.
And yeah, that show went off like it went flawlessly. It was great. My riffs were great. Everything was great. Because it was kind of funny because I'd wrote a bunch of jokes that were shitting on police officers. And JR did the exact same thing where he started shitting on cops and like they started booing him. Like they were like, no, we love cops. And I was like, oh, fuck. So I just scratched everything. I'm
glad I went second. Yeah.
Thank God I went second. And then I didn't want to go last either because it just like I just needed that no pressure spot. But it was such a good show that I'm like, I'm gonna continue doing comedy.
So here we ask me on this. I always ask from your bomb. Is there anything you learned and or what would you have changed?
Yeah, so this is what I learned, and I don't know why I listened. I should be listening to you, Jay, because you just did a wedding, and I was like, "Are you gonna do wedding stuff or you're like, I'm just gonna do my set?" And I'm like, I should have just fucking did my set. Don't fuck around. They're not hiring you because you're funny and cool. They want to hear your fucking set.
Dude, that wedding thing, it's crazy because I stayed with you when I was up there for that, and leading up to it, me and you talked about it and like, oh God, what the fuck is this gonna be? And it was fun as shit. It ended up being great. And like the only thing I did at the front that wasn't, my set was I just talked about how the guy hired me and getting an email through my website of somebody saying they want to hire me for a wedding. I was like, is this like some new Nigerian email scam?
Right.
And then I kept saying, I prefaced my set to the audience by going, just know Sean hired me and he wanted all these jokes as they are, swearing, all this. So if you want to Yelp somebody or have a problem, talk to Sean.
That's so funny.
Yeah. And then I was good.
I pretty much did the exact same thing at the Fireman. I was like, yo, this guy hired me through my website, which is whosmokesweed.me. So I feel like you know who you got. So I'm just going to do my shit.
That's great. That's great.
And I didn't like fuck around. I wasn't like, hey, 9/11. No, I was just like fucking go through your shit. Don't fuck around.
Christ, fucking 9/11. You guys remember that, right? It's pretty funny.
That? Is that what you guys are doing tonight?
All right. So anything you want to plug and what's your social media stuff?
Oh God, I don't even know if I want to plug anything on this fucking show. Fuck. All right. Well, my shit is HighBS at HighBS, HIGHBS at all the things. And you can see me at the Dope Show, my realm where I feel very comfortable. And I, that's where you can see me shine. I got the next one coming up July 10th at Tacoma Comedy Club.
Really quick, explain to them the premise of the Dope Show.
The Dope Show is a comedy showcase where comedians perform and then they get really fucking high and then they attempt to perform again. No guarantees on whether or not it's gonna be funny, but it seems to always work out.
Or if they'll keep within their time, right?
Exactly. Or if they'll come back.
Well, thank you, Tyler. I love you. Thank you for coming on and thank you for bombing for me so you would have a show to.
Dude, it took a lot. I sacrificed a lot of my self-esteem for this.
Yeah. Follow Tyler, give him a comment or something. Tell him you heard him on the fucking Boo Show. And I'm going to hit you up, Tyler, about a possible gig. Yeah, and I got gigs too for you. Okay, well, we'll talk off this. Okay. Until next time, bombs away, bomb voyage, the bomb squad. Bombay. Bombastic. Fucking boo. All right, thanks, Tyler. See ya. Fucking boo.
Fucking boo.